we'll see some improving conditions for TriMet in our budget. So with that, unless the board has other questions, I'd entertain a motion then to approve. Let me go back to the actual resolution number in front of me. I'd ask for a board motion to approve Resolution 13-05-38, which is adopting the fiscal year 2013-2014 annual budget, appropriating funds, and changing its basis of accounting.
So moved.
I have a motion.
Second.
I have a second. Is there further discussion by the board?
I'd like to make some
Please do.
comments in regards to, last year's budget, of course, was a little more contentious because of the service cuts and the increases in fares. This year's budget is a little less contentious, and that's welcomed. But I do want to say that I believe this process was something that I thought was very thorough. We started with our finance and budget committee that got together and did a lot of things, but then we took it out to the public. And again, as President Warner mentioned, I want to commend Opal and Bus Riders Unite for their efforts. I know Jared spent a lot of time reviewing the budget and made some highlights. It was mentioned during some of the comments that we're an organization that is not listening. And while everybody's perception is their reality, as a board member, that troubles me a little bit as an individual who is going out, spending time with individual groups, individuals on both sides of the proverbial aisle, and listening and making changes and adjustments as we go through this process. Last year we added based on board member Consuelo's or Saragosa's recommendation, we added the dollars to that new program, which we were commended on this morning from Central City Concern. That to me is something that we're listening. And some of the things that Jared and his team pointed out in regards to some inconsistencies, those changes and things were adjusted. And so as we move forward, we will continue to look at the transparency issue. We'll continue to look at the issues of working together and making sure that we're listening. And that's something that you'll have my personal commitment as a board member for, and I will continue to get out and about to make sure that I hear some of those concerns that are going on, and the rest of the board is also committed to doing that same thing. But again, I want to commend everybody in their engagement as we've gone through this process and encourage it. Next year, we'll be going through another budget. Who knows what the issues will be at that point in time, and we don't want to lose this engagement that we've created. And again, I'll make the commitment to be open and available, and to ensure that that you're being heard. Now, I can tell you that you won't always get what you ask for specifically, but it's something that as I walk away from the table and after every board meeting, I want to make sure that I'm being fair in what we deliberate here, and that's the goal, and listening to all parties. And so again, I want to just close by again commending everybody along this process, the board members, the staff, and everybody else that has put in their efforts to make this process something that will continue to improve as we go forward.
Thank you. Director Stillwell. Anything else? Okay with that? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I have to second everything that Board Member Stovall has said. Also want to indicate that it's really good. It's a relief for everybody to have a budget that is far less controversial than it was last year. We're glad for that breather. But too often we look at budgets on year to year, and that's how agencies get into trouble. I've seen that through my entire career. The strategic financial planning process that we are going through here, I think, is crucial. I do see challenges in the future, and every decision I make related to the budget and level of service, revenues, I'm always looking in the long term, because if we can't sustain this operation in the long term, everybody fails. This region fails. It's that important. So, this year we have a little bit of a breather, but we still have challenges ahead of us. And I think this board, I know this board, is committed to working on those challenges and solving those challenges. And it's not going to be easy. There's still going to be tough decisions ahead. But I do think that we have the commitment and the willingness to solve those problems. And it's not going to happen today, it's not going to happen tomorrow, but it will happen.
All right, ready for the question? All right, have a motion and a second to approve Resolution 13-05-38. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, the motion is approved unanimously.
You
Thank you.
just approved a falsified budget. You just
All right.
approved a falsified budget.
I don't know him.
The general manager is making $208,000, not $195. When are you going to
You're
get
out of
that
order,
corrected?
Lane. Thank you. So let's move on to ordinance 329.
You are not being transparent, Bruce. The budget needs to be approved as the budget is on the deputy manager, not the 195. Where's that 13,000 coming from, Bruce? Neil, Dave?
Well, let's be able to come back and talk to you, explain how.
No, you're running TriMet, not Bruce, not Dave. You're the one overseeing
Lane,
TriMet.
you're out of order. I know how it's done. I've been involved in public financing and budgets for years, so
Then why is it lying?
it's not. So again, Dave will be glad to give you
There
a
are two different numbers here. The
Moving
budget's
on.
195, Bruce.
Ordinance 329, which is adopting service changes and amending TriMet Code, Chapter 22, which is the first reading and public hearing. General Counsel.
Yes, it is the first reading, public hearing, and I will read the title. So, ordinance number 329, an ordinance of the Tri-County Metropolitan Transportation District of Oregon, TriMet, adopting service changes and amending TriMet Code Chapter 22. And I believe that we have a presentation on what those changes.
Right, good. Mr. General Manager, are you providing that?
Yes, and I would like to have Tom Mills come up and augment this, but the budget you just adopted moments ago was $2.1 million for various service fixes around the region. For lines 47, 48, and 94, the changes we propose are actually at a threshold level that require board approval. And that threshold is if it affects 25% or more of the coverage of the overall service for those lines. So when we hit that threshold, we come to you with the ordinance seeking your approval for that. We've done a lot of community outreach for this. We've also done a Title VI civil rights analysis of the changes. And I've asked Tom Mills to give you just a very quick summary of those overall.
Thank you, Neil. Thank you.
You have to talk into it.
Thank you, Neil. Again, my name is Tom Mills. I'm a planner with TriMet. I'm here to talk to you about the ordinance 329, which includes changes to lines 47, 48, and 94. Hello?
Let's get you on the mic.
Okay.
Overused.
Hello?
Hello?
There you go.
Sorry. As Neil mentioned, the changes to lines that we're requesting for funding for to lines 47, 48, and 94 require board approval. I wanted to give you just a little bit of background on those changes. Line 47 is a service change that came from the West Side Service Enhancement Plan. If you recall, in March, myself and Alan Lato, Director of Planning and Policy, made a presentation about the West Side Service Enhancement Plan. The service change would reroute the line so that it serves the Bethany area and terminate at Rock Creek, PCC Rock Creek. It would also increase frequency between Orenco Station Max and PCC Rock Creek so that it runs every 15 minutes in the peak and every 30 minutes in the off-peak. This change would better connect workers who live in the Bethany area with the employment in the Evergreen Corridor, most prominently Intel Rongler Acres, which has over 8,000 jobs, and the new Kaiser Westside Medical Center, which has over 800 jobs, along with quite a bit of retail in the Canasborn area. And as we all know, retail workers ride transit. This would also add another line to PCC Rock Creek, providing a one-seat ride between Hillsborough and PCC to help people with job training. And then it would also eliminate duplication on Cornell Road. We actually, a portion of Cornell Road, we run two bus lines on, line 47 and 48. And then lastly, the improved frequency would really help increase ridership between the Intel buses and the TriMet buses in the weekday peaks. You would see buses approximately every 10 minutes on average in the weekdays going between Orenco and the Intel campus. The second service change I'd like to talk about is line 48. This also comes out of the West Side Service Enhancement Plan. If you recall last fall, we merged line 48 with line 89 so that we had one long line on Cornell, and we'd like to enhance that this fall by increasing the frequency on that so that it goes in the peaks, it runs every 15 minutes as opposed to the current every 30 minutes between Sunset Transit Center and Stuckey Road in the Tanasbourne area. What this would do would better serve, again, the West Side Medical Center, which has approximately 700 jobs, Columbia Sportswear, which has approximately 900 jobs, Sunset High School, the retail centers of Cedar Mill and Tanasbourne, as well as Sunset Transit Center. Ultimately, we'd like to make line 48 a frequent service line in the future so that it has 15 minutes service all day long, including the weekends. Lastly, I want to mention the service change to line 94. Line 94 operates as a local bus between Sherwood and Tigard, and then when it gets to Tigard, it becomes an express bus into downtown Portland. The recommendation is to add express buses on the weekdays during the midday between Tigard and downtown Portland to address crowding, and to add local buses between Tigard Transit Center and Sherwood during the rush hour to improve connections. The Tigard to Sherwood portion would also be renamed as line 93 to prevent confusion between the local service and the express service. These changes are in response to customer requests and are an incremental step towards high-capacity service in the Southwest Corridor. As Neil mentioned, there was quite a bit of outreach on these three service changes. In addition to the traditional outreach, which includes neighborhood meetings and riding the buses and talking to customers and taking email and phone comment, we also held public hearings for each service change. Over the course of the comment period, we received 78 comments altogether, so for all three changes, we received 78 comments, and they helped us shape the plan as it is. Finally, Neil also mentioned that there was a Title VI analysis done for each of the three service changes. The purpose of that was to determine whether there was any disproportionate adverse impact to areas that have high levels of people with low incomes or a minority population. And we're pleased to say that there was no disproportionate negative impact found in any of the changes. In fact, the only change that had some negative impact was on the line 47. However, more than 90% of impacted riders had alternative service within a quarter mile. So ultimately, this allows us to serve more people while minimizing the impact on folks. And that is my report.
Questions?
Yeah, just a question. Just for the general public, can you tell us how you look at the impact? What was the analysis? What was the process, so that folks understand?
Sure. So what we do is, according to Title VI requirements, we look at the level of minority or low-income population throughout the TriMet service district, and then we look at the individual census tracts that would receive the service change, particularly an area that would say lose service because we're moving the line, and see if there is a level of low-income population or minority population that is greater than the system average. If there is, then there would be an adverse impact or a disproportionate adverse impact. However, in this case, none of the census tracts exceeded the the low-income or minority population average for the region, for the TriMet Service District. And then, of course, we also look for mitigation, such as I mentioned, where 90% of the folks who would lose service could just walk to another line that would take them to where they need to go.
Other questions? Comments? Okay, thank you, Mike.
I would just note that for the record, that the board members have been provided with a copy of the equity report.
Thank you for noting that. So this is an opportunity for a public hearing, so maybe staff can stay close here, but I have nobody who signed up for this item, but I'm going to open the public hearing. I found out I have a gavel. So hey! Public hearing is open. Is there anybody who wishes to testify on this ordinance? Please come on up.
I'm sorry, testify on this particular.
Your ordinance, yes.
Well, yeah, one thing I just thought of.
Why don't you come up and give us your name and address?
Thank you. Sorry. Yes, it was fine. Good morning, board.
Good morning. You're on.
Yeah, good morning, board. Okay. I just happened to think of this, something that perhaps if somebody was going to a continual job, or perhaps as you mentioned, a minority section or whatever, if a one-way ticket was $2.50, perhaps a return one would be less, like $2 or $1.75 for people that are just in that area. I mean, it isn't going to happen all the time. Because I'm thinking, if that's going to happen, people are going to worry, well, TriMet's going to lose, well, I'm sorry. They're going to say you might lose money, but I think maybe with that change, people would ride more often.
So that's not the issue we're dealing with today, but I appreciate we're talking about the rerouting changes of routing patterns and frequency. That's all right, I appreciate your comment. But could you, for your record, please give us your name?
Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Leon Chavaria. I'm on the board for CAT.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Nice to meet you. Good. Cameron?
Mostly I just had some questions, being kind of a self-proclaimed transit geek, and I wasn't sure if I heard you right. What's the weekend service going to be for 48 cents before?
Yes,
And 47 is still going to be 5 days a week?
correct.
Okay, that's pretty much what I want to know, but while I'm here, just thinking about it, I'd much rather have been able to be more aware of kind of what was going on with the meetings and everything, because after a while, pretty much everything I saw about the 47 and whatnot disappeared off the site till about May, and I'd love to be able to comment on that, just being a transit geek. And since I'm here, though, just a couple things I was thinking of is that I personally would prefer to see the 48 have like more of an infrequent routing up to the Oak Hill segment, seeing as that would be primarily the only segment lost, and there are people who may not be able to walk down to Cornell. Just being able to have like a trip every hour or so just kind of loops up there, kind of like the 19 over on Rex. And sorry, what was my other train of thought? Just a second. The rerouting. Or not the rerouting, but the division of frequency with the 94 being express and the 93 being local. Figure it's kind of tricky to tell 93 and 94 apart, so I'd go with something like, I don't know, 42 or something, so that we can tell, okay, 42 is local, 94 is express, because the 9 buses are all express. That's just sort of a couple things I was thinking of while I was here, and I'd like to add a little bit of input now that I have the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Cameron. Tom, do you have any response at all on that?
I just want to just point out one thing about the Oak Hills area, and this is also another area that would also be losing the Park View area. Both of those streets, Oak Hills Boulevard and Park View Boulevard, are very residential streets. These are the types of streets where you would expect to see kids throwing football in the middle of the street. These do not have yellow striping on them. There's parking on both sides with driveways that come out. Running a 40-foot bus on these streets, they're very narrow, and frankly, I don't want to say it's dangerous, but I'm a lot more comfortable having buses run on arterials and asking people to walk to an arterial or a collector street. But certainly, the other point I want to make is, especially in Oak Hills, the ridership is quite low. We have, on average, in fall 2012, we had 8 ons per day and 13 offs per weekday. So, and in fact, I did hear from Oak Hills people who were very happy to see the bus go away from their street.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Alex and.
I just wanted to respond. Thank you for letting me know about that. Streets on, buses on small streets is a concern I kind of have on my own, so thank you for addressing that.
Great, thank you. Come on up here.
Yeah, I had a better idea instead of the 94. Instead of making it 94, 93, we put it back. I mean, okay, instead of putting it back, why not 12 Barber to Portland, downtown only Union Station, 12 Barber Boulevard to Sherwood, and then have a layover in just downtown. And then at Union Station, 12 Sandy to Parkrose, or no, 12 Sandy to Gresham, and then back 12 Sandy to Portland, and then downtown only to Union Station. I mean, what's stopping us from doing that? I think that makes more sense than 21, 94, and 12.
Thank you, Alex. I think that's another discussion for that. Do you have any comments on these 3 line changes?
No.
Okay, thank you, Alex.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Henry Beasley. I'm currently a trucking employee, a driver. I've been with the company for about 5.5 years. I love what I do. I appreciate showing up at these meetings. This is my second time. I'm trying to get a foothold on everything that's going on because it's pretty massive. As a driver, you know, we're concerned about our service. Are we providing proper service for our ridership? Because we see them every day. For the 93 and the 94, you know, what is the service impact on the budget? And, you know, since we're reducing our man hours to the hours of service and stuff like that, you know, what impact would it be on the employee? I'm not sure how that would be impacted since it was just approved. You know, I may do the 93, 94 in the future, and just as an operator, I would just like to know what type of impact would that have on the worker.
Again, I don't think that's part of the topic we have, but could I ask, maybe it sounds like an operational issue.
Yes.
Shelley, maybe you.
Shelley or one of the other,
if we can talk to
here,
if you.
chat with you.
Yeah, why don't we have them talk with you right after you're done here, okay? That'd be great.
That was my only question.
Great. Thank you for coming. I appreciate you attending and providing your input. Is there anybody who's not yet testified?
I just have one more question, I'm sorry. Don't worry, it's quick, I promise.
Cameron, come on up then. Look, it's on the record here.
I just want to know when we can find out the more specific details online, when we can find them in the service adjustments part.
Yeah, so details were put online regarding the service changes and the public hearings, but we can potentially put that back up online so that you can look at it, and we'd also be happy to speak with you about it.
Mostly just like the schedules and stuff. They put that up a little while before.
Sure, we'll be sure to have that information available for riders. The schedules aren't complete, but when they are, we'll have that available with certainly enough time for riders to adjust their schedules prior to the change.
Thank you, now I'll get out of your hair.
All right, thank you, Cameron.
Just get in my area of expertise here.
Other questions or comments from the board for Tom or this one? Okay. Thank you, Tom. I'm going to close the public hearing. All right. Public hearing is closed. I want to, for the benefit of anybody in the audience, that we are not going to be taking action on this ordinance today. This is going to be coming back to us at our next regular business meeting in June. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. So at our next regular business meeting, we'll be taking action on this. So this is an opportunity to provide public input. Obviously, we're still interested if you have something submitted to us in writing, and we'd like to consider any input we have between now and our final adoption of this ordinance.
And we'll take additional testimony at the next meeting.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, good. So with that, I'm going to ask if there's any other business that we have that we know of that needs to come before the board today. If not, then the meeting is adjourned, and we're going to move into the public forum. How's the board doing? Do we need a bio break or anything like that? You doing okay? All right, so we've got about 6 folks that have signed up under under public testimony, and again, I'll ask you to please adhere to the 3-minute limit. So Alex, let's have you come on, Alex Hawk, come on back up again, and Mary Longoria.
Okay, so my name is Alex Hawk. I've been a rider since forever. One thing I'm not understanding is why do we keep favoring rail service over bus service? TriMet keeps saying repeatedly that we don't, but it's being quite obvious that TriMet is cutting bus service in favor of rail. I mean, how is it that the recession hit us so hard that we couldn't buy new buses, but we could build Max Green Line and West Commuter Rail? I don't care if West has been in planning for 18 years. I wanted to go to Monte Carlo since I was a kid. If I don't have the money for that now, well, I think I'm going to put that on hold until I'm in financially clear. How is it that the West Commuter Rail, TriMet, continues to lose money on each week and each year? And why are we building light rail to Milwaukee? What need does that fulfill? What purpose does that serve? 9 buses go to Milwaukee already, and Clackamas County has repeatedly expressed its deep disdain for PMLR, costing TriMet, from what I could tell, is $75 million. If you take the money we've wasted on West and PMLR, we could purchase a little over 500 brand new 2900 series / New Flyer D40 LFR buses, 402 articulated hybrid electric DE60 LFRs, and 387 Alexander Dennis Enviro 500 buses. Numerous other transit agencies have had run-on commercial success with each type of these buses. TriMet builds Max lines while our bus fleet age continues to be the oldest in the nation. These buses make operators sick and exhausted due to lack of AC and overall being filthy on the inside. September 2012 cuts had numerous cuts to bus service and to Zero Max lines, all while calling the union employee health contract the most generous in the nation. I've never heard of Mr. McFarland having to pull a madman with a gun off of Mary Fetch, nor have I ever seen Miss Kelly Runyon be spit on by an angry passenger. You put a non-union employee in the seat of a bus for a month, then you see how generous those benefits are. You see how many current and retired operators suffer from cardiovascular, gastrointestinal, musculoskeletal problems, high blood pressure, elevated stress hormones, heart morbidity, hypertension, prolapsed vertebral disc, and a bunch of other bad health conditions that I can't even spell. All while 6-figure TriMet executives cry poverty while paying less than $100 a month for health coverage. My heart bleeds for you.
Thank you, Alex.
Good morning, my name is Mary Longoria. I'm the Financial Secretary for Amalgamated Transit Union, Local 757. I want to thank you for giving the opportunity to speak with you on a basic issue of fairness regarding the TriMet pensions. I do so on behalf of the union retirees and future retirees that TriMet continues to blame, in part, for its ongoing financial problems. In Neil's interview with Jeff Gianola on COIN Channel 6 last week, Mr. McFarland described a number of details about the union workers' retirement program, including 10-year eligibility, the option to retire as early as age 55, having the same health benefits as active employees under age 65, and then followed by Part B Medicare coverage. While all of that sounds generous, no actual dollar amounts were included in Mr. McFarland's comments, and I believe there is a good reason he left them out. The inconvenient truth is that these retirees receive pension checks so small that retirement can hardly be considered as their so-called golden years. I would like to share with you a financial breakdown of benefits and healthcare spending for a member who retired after 13 years of service. The former employee receives a monthly pension of $749. Before I continue, I invite you to pick up a pencil or pen and follow along as I do the math. I have rounded the numbers to make it easier. The retirement payment they receive is $749. In federal taxes, $57 is taken out. In state taxes, $72 is taken out. In Regent's health premium, and yes, to contrary our retirees do and our active employees do pay a premium for health costs, and that is $182. For dental, it is $3. The net after taxes and health insurance premiums is $435. But that's not all. Their average cost for medications a month is $50. That leaves a total deposit for their family budget at $385. Now compare $385 per month of retirement income to the $16,000 per month retirement package of TriMet's former general manager. I asked the board and the members and the public to let these numbers sink in and conclude. As Mr. McFarland wants you to, that union member retirees are breaking the bank at TriMet, it is simply not the case. Given the relatively modest pension these retired union employees receive, it is unconscionable to even discuss additional cuts to their retirement during the upcoming negotiations. I ask the board to consider the fairness of TriMet executives' golden parachutes when they come to the expense of retirees' golden years. Thank you.
The next two, I have Bruce Hanson. I see you've been waiting patiently back there. And is it Leon? Yeah.
Bruce.
Ship. Sorry, am I missing something? Oh, I'm Bruce too, that's the problem. Leon Ship, you're going to pronounce your last name for me, right?
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, good morning, members. Yeah, my name is Leon Chevalier. Yeah, anyways, what I was arguing myself with this morning whether it is, how would you say, necessary or something like that. But anyways, I've had to wave quite a number of cars back into the right lane, and a couple of cars have been driving up the wrong way, especially a car going down Main, because just luckily there wasn't a bus coming up the street. But somebody on 6th Avenue, just so many people don't realize that, or else they do realize, but they don't pay attention, that they're supposed to be in a specific lane. So I'm thinking of either painting the side of the curb white. Well, that would do it really. But what would be better, I think, is to put a little. I don't know if you see this. Did you see that? No. Well, I'll have to draw it or something like that. Anyways, to put a little arrow that says cars or car lane right next to the lane. Or else a lot of streets have a pole right next to it. We'll put it on the pole. And I know that the downtown likes to stay in a certain, they don't have those yellow treads on the curb cuts. They have them white. So, but I think it's with the summertime when more people come into the city and they're not used to how to ride around. But I think it'll make a big difference to just the buses. And a lot of tension, but then they can be removed in the fall because so many other people know what this is like. But the people that come into the city from outside the city don't know. Well, I was going to say something, but anyways, don't know anything. Thank you.
No, thank you. And I know that it can be confusing downtown. Mr. Hanson, welcome.
Good morning.
Nice to see you.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. I'm the president of Amalgamated TransUnion Local 757. I'm here to talk about some concerns and working conditions of our members are experiencing. The working conditions at TriMet are becoming more and more concerning. First, members are concerned about their safety and the safety of their passengers on the buses and trains. As you are aware, we've recently had 2 members stabbed. The first being en route on his bus, the second being stabbed at a layover at 94th and Flayville. There have been more assaults on members. This is just a couple of the more recent examples. We want to know what TriMet is doing to eliminate assaults on buses and against operators. This must stop, Something has to be done to prevent it, and more also needs to be done to help catch the people involved. TriMet offered $1,000 in reward for the person responsible for leaving a rock on the MAX tracks, and promoted that on the news and in different avenues. Yet, when our operator was stabbed at 94th, there was nothing out there in the form of the $1,000 reward that is offered for an assault on an operator. Our operators are faced with more stressful schedules, with reduced running times, with more passengers. So if they're late to the end of the line, they feel obligated and compelled to give up their meal breaks and recovery times to try to catch up with the schedule and to provide better customer service. We no longer have break time scheduled, we have recovery time. We're human beings and we want adequate breaks and better working conditions. TriMet management continues to talk about benefit levels of ATU 757 members at TriMet. Here's an example of a golden parachute retirement for TriMet executive Fred Hansen and a union member of 33.5 years. Fred Hansen receives $16,001 per month for retirement. And the union member, after 33.5 years, receives just under $2,500 a month for her retirement. The operator receives about $72 per year of service. Yet again, another example of overpaid executives and underpaid frontline employees. TriMet needs to stop pointing their fingers at the employees and as the cause to financial crisis. We believe the root of cause to be excessive golden parachute retirements and executives and excessive wasteful spending on light rail expansions, and really, how much furniture does TriMet need? And if the frontline employees are truly the ambassadors of TriMet, TriMet must stop demoralizing the frontline employees in the media. We call upon the board and hold TriMet management accountable for the membership and the community of the Portland metropolitan area. Thank you for your time.
All right, I have two more. Lane Jensen, is Lane still here?
I hope not.
And R.A. Montz. Oh, there's R.A.
Hello again. This will be light. I got kind of rudely interrupted by the 3-minute horn last month. And I know this is out of right field, but we really need to start thinking about the impact of autonomous vehicles on our operations, not just TriMet, but the whole world. First off, recall, car companies are saying now they're going to be coming out with autonomous vehicles within the next 7 to 12 years. And we don't know when they'll be made available to TriMet and other commercial operators and other transit companies, but when they do, they will be transformative. Imagine if you computerized a bus and a MAX train. You'd save the cost of operation. For a bus, that's $60 out of 100. For a MAX, it's about $60, approximately $60 out of 270. Mr. McFarland, correct that if I'm way off. Okay. The point is you end up with $40 for bus and about $210 for MAX. So the whole operating financial thing just turns on its head. It starts becoming more inexpensive to operate buses where MAX has been less expensive at the present. The exception being at peak commute when MAXs are loaded, then they'll be slightly more cost effective. But overall, on average, buses will become more cost effective than MAX most of the time, always more cost effective than streetcar. The second thing is to look at how autonomous private cars would impact MAX. They impact TriMet. We have approximately 1,250,000 privately registered vehicles, privately registered automobiles in the 3-county area. Imagine if just 1%, that's 12,500 cars, were available for car sharing. Private companies, taxis, private individuals under something like getaround.com. That would mean potentially each one could carry about 4 riders in the course of an hour, say on maybe one trip of 4 people, 4 short trips of 1 person. That means they could carry 50,000 rides per hour. Now, off-peak, TriMet operates about 16 hours a day. 50,000 rides an hour for those 16 hours would have a capacity of 800,000 rides. TriMet's only providing 200,000. And this is only with 1% of the private fleet converted. So when autonomous private cars come in, TriMet could expect to see a huge drop in ridership off-peak. And it will impact the entire operation. It will probably impact the taxpayers' willingness to subsidize TriMet, because private cars are paying full taxes. They pay full gasoline taxes, they operate paying property taxes, and not getting anything in the way of a payroll tax break. So it will be huge. I'm just asking, just pointing this out to you, just bring it to your attention. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. So that concludes the public forum, unless there's somebody here that we don't have signed up. Okay, with that, the public forum is concluded, and the board, you are free to go. Thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate your time.